Hi, today I'm here because I need to uncover or expose something that is affecting me terribly, and not only me, but my kids. But it is a long story, and so I may have to present this video in clips. I'm going to first start off with where it all began. First, when you think of self-identity, you think of who you are as a person. And often people are given the opportunity to become whomever they want to be. That wasn't my case, nor was that the case of my siblings. We were encouraged to be who my dad wanted us to be. My father wanted us to grow up into becoming ministers. He wanted us to preach and spend all of our time in teaching others, or pretty much converting others to becoming Jehovah's Witnesses. It wasn't until about the age of 37 that I decided that it was time for me to be who I really wanted to be. Of course, that was after I had received a bachelor's degree. Of course, it was frowned upon by the religion, frowned upon by my ex-husband. It was very difficult. I lost support from him as far as helping me with the kids or keeping up the house. So finally, at the age of 37, I had the strength to walk away. Not only to walk away from the religion, but I walked away from the marriage. However, the consequences of that were great. The first consequence was that anybody and everybody that I ever knew as a friend or as family suddenly were non-existent in my life. They shunned me, as the church does. I remember Thursday evening, people were hugging me and kissing me at the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, or El Salón del Reino de los Testigos de Jehová. And I even got on the stage 3 times that night to present materials to the congregation. And when I decided that I was leaving my husband and the religion, and I saw many of those people that following weekend at Walmart or HEB, anywhere that I ran into them, they would simply turn their nose and walk away. Specifically, I remember as a high school English teacher, one of the substitutes who was a Jehovah's Witness, who used to look for me all the time and talk to me and say hi to me, suddenly turned her nose at me. And not even my students could understand that. You can see it was very, very hard for me. I felt like I needed to escape. I needed to get away. I lived in a small town of La Joya, Texas. Everybody knew everybody. In fact, everybody in the valley knew everybody in the valley. And I had been living in Port Isabel, Texas at the age of 13 and moved around the valley for quite a while, for many years, with the exception of the 4 years that I lived in Mexico. So I knew I needed to get away. I needed a fresh start, but it wasn't going to be easy. And in fact, I was in a state of mind where I was just like, okay, I need to leave, and then I'm going to come back and get my kids. Lo and behold, did I know that it wasn't going to be that easy. And I'm finding out that right now. I left. I went to California. And yes, I met a friend and I had somebody there that was supporting me, I thought anyway, emotionally. He did give me a lot of emotional support. And mistakenly, I went to California. That was the worst mistake I could have made. Yeah, I wish I would have stayed closer to start over again, but I didn't. But of course, I wasn't thinking very rational either. I just wanted to get out. I just needed that fresh start. I needed to be me. I needed to not have eyes staring at me wherever I went, people hating me because of who I was, or because of the decisions that I had made in life. People that didn't understand why I made the decisions that I made. I was hurt and I was lost. So I went to California, and it wasn't easy. There was no jobs available. I was a high school teacher teaching. They had just cut 300 jobs before I got there, the year before I got there. The following year they cut another 500. So I knew that getting a teaching job would be really hard for me. to acquire in California. So I went into real estate. And real estate was even harder because I wasn't willing to lower my standards and commit certain immoral acts just to have clientele. So I ended up deciding to come back to Texas. So I now live here in Spring, Texas, and I teach high school, and I am also a college professor. So yeah, it looks like things are getting better for me financially, you would think, but not really. See, when I was in California, I didn't have income. So I had to live off of my credit cards. I'd pay my rent. I'd go and get a cash advance just to pay my rent. It was very difficult. Or just to buy food, charge my credit card. Buy gas, charge my credit card. I lost my car in a car accident while I was there. And somebody else ran into me, and my car was totaled. So I didn't have a vehicle. So I had to get a loan from the broker that I was working for, and I had to pay him back in monthly payments. And I just wasn't making it. And so I decided that, you know what? It's time to move back to Texas. I'm ready to come back and work hard and fight for my kids and give them the chance and the opportunity that I didn't have growing up. And more than that, the most important thing is the fact that my children's lives are in danger. People don't understand that Jehovah's Witnesses are a cult, and they do brainwash you. You ask my son right now, my 14-year-old son, he's about to be 15, what do you want to do when you grow up? What he's going to tell you is that he wants to serve in Bethel, in New York, where the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society published the Watchtowers and the Wakes. And he wants to go and volunteer his time. That's what his career, his goal, his idea is. And unfortunately, it's not going to lead him very far in this world. We do live in a world where education is necessary, and they're being told that they shouldn't get an education. But even more important than that is the fact that their health is at stake. And the reason I say this is because besides the fact that my children are both obese, they're both overweight. Both of my boys are. My 14-year-old weighs almost 200 pounds, and it wasn't until I petitioned child custody that my ex-husband decided to take him to a doctor and put him on a diet. And he's lost 11 pounds since January. But the fact that not only are they at risk because of obesity, my 15-year-old, or he's almost 15, has high blood pressure, high cholesterol, he's pre-diabetic, and this is all due to the fact that he's not allowed to participate in extracurricular activities at school, because then he would have worldly association. So those are some things that are affecting him. But even worse than that is the fact that if my children are in some sort of an accident, it could be a car accident, it could be, any natural cause accident, you just never know nowadays. And he needed blood. My ex-husband would rather let him die than receive a blood transfusion. Yeah, he would go to the hospital and he would refuse to sign the papers for a blood transfusion, and he would allow my children to die. And that's even scarier. So therefore, I am doing all that I can to make sure that they are safe, they're healthy, they're with their mom. I will never deny them the opportunity to see their dad or to be with their dad. But I think that they need to see what is out there in the real world, and I think that their health and their safety is more important than anything else in this world.